patience and persistence led to the reuniting of both the correct numbers matching motor and the original owner to this beautiful triple black Hemi Cuda. All right, here today with Tom Bruno. I've been chasing this Hemi car for a while. It's finally done. Tom, you got a very special person with you right here. Who's this?
This is the original owner of that 70 Hemi Cuda we're about to show you.
Okay.
He ordered it brand new, and he can tell you all about it. Al Hunt.
Well, let's take a look at it first. Now, when you sold it to him, it wasn't exactly pristine condition, right?
I didn't sell it to him.
Okay.
When I sold it to a guy in Freeport, Maine.
Okay.
That was in 1978, and it was in perfect shape.
Well, how'd you guys hook back up?
That's an interesting story. Another gentleman had a car exactly like this on eBay probably 3 years ago, and Al had chimed in with his eBay handle saying, hey, I think that's my original car that I ordered at Dameron Motor Sales back in 1969. And I'm like, and I always knew that this car was sold at Dameron new, and I'm like, no way, I have your car. So, I got a hold of Al through eBay Messenger, and he kind of questioned me to make sure that I was legit, and we struck up a conversation when he knew that it was really the car that he had ordered brand new.
So, Al, when's the last time you've seen this car?
1978.
In the
Okay.
fall, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
1978.
He sold it to John Ingerson. That was the gentleman there.
Okay. And when you got it, what kind of condition was it in?
It was like this pretty much, but it didn't have the original engine in it.
Right. Now, we saw you a couple years ago, I think 2020 in Carlisle, when you got the original engine.
Was that 21?
21.
21, when you got the
21.
original engine.
Right. We
Right.
reunited with it. Frank Battleson was there. Yeah. I mean, it was amazing.
So you've got it back all perfect,
So-
numbers matching.
Dave Dudek.
Yeah.
Yeah, numbers matching. Dave Dudek did the engine, and it runs really well now. For the
Cool.
first time, really, since I've owned it. There was always like a carburetor problem, and it really stumped Dave. It really stumped Dave too. He had to go through it a few times, and now it's really, I mean, it's exceptional now.
Absolutely. All right, so you ready to see this thing?
I was ready.
All right, open that door.
It never did have a license plate frame or anything on the front.
Oh, it never did, huh?
No. Being a Michigan car, so we never had a front plate.
You never kept that plate, did you?
Yeah,
What, you have it?
yeah. You ain't getting it though. Maybe 5 years.
All right, yeah.
But it's
If I take
the
that plate
last
back
plate
off.
I had on it, which was a 71. So it's going to be the Michigan, sort of a beige and white plate or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to you eventually,
All right.
because you're not going to get rid of it.
No, I've had it since 2005. And Rob, I
thought
never
you
told
said
you.
you got it in 7.
Five. I never told you the story how I got. Maybe you've heard over time.
Okay,
I mean, this is not something that it's a long story.
go for it.
Is it true?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. So, the guy that I bought this car off was in Temecula, California. You know where that is, right? Southern California. And he was doing his backyard, and I had just sold a car to Ed Cook, and he paid me in cash because he had done a deal with one of those guys up in Minnesota. It was like, he had the money, and it was still in Federal Reserve wrappers. And so I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna take this cash all the way cross country, because it's, post 9/11, and you can't be getting on a plane with the money that you need to buy a 70 Hemi Cuda with. So we get in a car, get a Toyota Camry or something. We make it all the way, 2-3 days into the trip, and we're in Flagstaff, Arizona. I remember because we just had lunch in what's that Eagles song? Winslow, Arizona. We just stopped there and we pulled out, and we were going, west to get to Temecula, and we were going to continue going west and stop at Kingman that night, but we got pulled over by some overzealous police officer, and he pulls us over going 1 mile over the speed limit, because the speed limit had changed from, I think, maybe it was 70 to 60 or 65 to 55. And I noticed it immediately, and I started slowing down. And this guy, all of a sudden, he comes out from the median, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? I can't be for me. I asked my friend Troy, I'm like, I wasn't speeding. I was like a mile over the speed limit when I saw him. So pulls me over. He's like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, well, we're going to buy a car in California. He's like, let me see your paperwork. This is a rental? And I'm like, yeah. So I showed him the rental car information. He's like, why are you guys driving out and flying home? And I'm like, because I stopped to see a few people I know on the way. Like I was going to see Barry Boyles when he was in Arizona and a few other guys. Scott Lindsay in Oklahoma, and I'm like, I don't have a private plane. I can't just be stopping all these places, so we decided to drive. Plus I wanted to drive across the country. And he's like, whatever, I don't buy it. So he puts me in the back of the patrol car. He's checking into me, and he's like, all right, so you got any weapons? I'm like, no. You don't have any guns or anything? I'm like, no. Any drugs? No. He's like, you got any money on you? I'm like, yeah, I got some money. And he's like, is it a lot of money? I'm like, well, I don't know what you consider a lot of money. And so, long story short, he's like, how much? And like I said, I'm not going to divulge exactly what it was, but it was money to buy this car. And he's like, you wait right there. And all of a sudden, like 10 cop cars come pulling up, behind us. And he's like, where's the money? I said, it's in my computer bag. So he grabs it, puts it in the car, separates me and my friend, and then they take us in. And it was like some type of makeshift police. It looked like a military, installment or something. Barbed wire all over the place and everything. And there's probably a dozen cops around. And they have my money and that. And they put us in the room, started asking us questions. I'm like, man, I really got to go to the bathroom. And he's like, yeah, all right, go ahead. So I go to, I'm in the bathroom doing my stuff, and the cop knocks 5 minutes. I've been in there. He's like, oh yeah, don't flush. I'm like, all right, whatever you're into, And finish with that, I go into the interrogation room, is what it basically became. And they're just asking us questions for hours. We were there 6 hours, and finally they give us a break, and we walk out into this yard, and the cop that pulled me over comes up to me. He's like, so how's it going? And I'm like, I don't know, it seems to be going well. I didn't do anything here. You shouldn't have even pulled me over. I don't know what the problem is. I have all the money in Federal Reserve wrappers. You can trace where it came from. I've given you people's names. I don't know what you want from me. I said, you know what, give me your address. I told the cop. He said, why? I said, because I'm going to send you a Christmas card with my picture with the car on it that I'm going to go buy when I get my money back. He's like, oh, you're pretty confident, aren't you, bud? I'm like, well, when you don't do anything wrong, this is America. It's not going to happen. He's like, well, I go, how many times have you seen anybody leave with money here? He's like, we've seen no one leave with a lot less money than what you're carrying. And I'm like, well, today will be the first time. So, I wasn't sure I was going to leave with my money, but, I had to project confidence, because I wasn't doing anything wrong, right? So here they called IRS, they called ATF, FBI, and they're like, all right, let this guy go. We don't have anything on him. They actually called Barry Boyles, and Barry said, yeah, I know Tom, he's a good dude. I bought cars from him before, and guys carry that kind of cash all the time, to buy these cars. So, and they finally let us go, and I told my friend Troy, look, I don't know how many of these police officers are legit or what. I'm like, I don't know if they told somebody along the road, we have all this money and, we're just traveling with no weapons or anything. So I'm like, they knew we were going to Kingman that night. And I said, Troy, don't say anything when you get in the car. So we drove, made sure no one followed us, and we stopped at the first rest stop. And we got out and I said, look, we're going to dump this car at Sky Harbor in Phoenix and get another car and pay cash for the hotel. And that's what we did. And we drove across the southern route, in the morning. And cause I don't know if that might have saved our lives or kept us from getting robbed or what, you know what I mean? And we made it there, and I was just happy to get rid of the money when I found this car. I'm like, it could have been a total piece of shit, but I would have bought it. And I would have said, just take it. I don't want this money anymore.
All right. Well, here's the $1 million question. Did you send the Christmas card?
No, because he didn't give me a date. But I still have the thing where he rode up in excess speed. He didn't even have a number on
1 mile an hour.
Yeah. So that's how I ended up getting the car.
All right, Tom. We came for the black car, but I can't leave without going through the garage here. Show me what you've got.
All right, this is a driver that I just picked up out of New York City in the spring. It's really well worked over. A guy named Chris Giardina owned it. He's owned it for years. It's been at Carlisle many times. He did a fantastic job with it. It just runs and drives like the best 69 Charger I've ever had.
Right.
I mean, it's just a stock 440 RT. Doesn't even have the original engine in it, but I mean, it's just a nice running car. You don't feel bad about taking anyway.
Right. All right. So what about the Hemi 500?
So this car was in Garlett's museum for 30 plus years. It came out of New Jersey, I believe. He restored it back, I don't know, it had to be 30 years now, but it doesn't have the original engine. It has a numbers match trans. I believe it's the only white interior, you know, kind of high impact color, 4-speed. It's a cool car.
Cool. This is a beast here.
Oh, that's my. This is going to be the Pimperia.
Pimperia?
Yeah, we're going to lower it. I got another set of letters just like this from another Imperial.
Right.
Yeah. So we're gonna do some. It shouldn't be on this side because these are just like my done cars, but it needs to be worked a little bit. It runs excellent. I got it off of some guy. His dad was in a mob down in Youngstown, so God knows what was in the trunk of this thing.
That is a lot of sheet metal, buddy.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you.
All right, and you got another Hemi Cuda here.
This one is the original California car. You'll note that there's no
it's got turn downs.
Turn downs on the back. Really loaded up car, unrestored. This thing runs and drives exceptionally. You want me to open the door?
Not yet.
The window sticker, original window sticker, has an addendum on it because it's pretty loaded. It's a numbers match 4-speed car that the engine's never been apart and it runs fantastically.
Cool. And a 71 383 car?
Yeah, 4-speed, orange interior.
Gotta love the interior, right?
Oh yeah, I actually have seat covers for it. Those are pretty shabby. Legendary just sent them to me 2 weeks ago, so
right.
I want to get those on. But that car is a pretty rare car. It's mostly original paint. I guess you'd call it a survivor. Top's been replaced on it though. 50-some thousand original miles, sold new in Texas. That's about it. Not very well optioned. I think it's AM, FM, and a power top.
It's got a 4-speed and a convertible. That's all you need, right?
And an orange seat.
Yeah.
It's a really late car too. It's like June 16th of '71, I think it is.
So you got a crazy old truck over here. Is that going to be
that's a 42 Dodge. Me and my son might do that eventually. He likes this thing. So it was built for the War Department at the very beginning of World War II. So, and it was built with a bed on it. You know, usually they come with those utility service bodies and things like that for the military. But this was built for the military with a regular bed, which makes it rare, and it's a 42. So, I think it was built like early February of 42. It's just a 6-cylinder. It should be olive drab, and in fact, I bought it in Nevada, and the guy who painted it, he was just, you know, obviously an amateur restorer, but he said if you carefully sand this down, the numbers will still be on the hood.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
I told my son, and he's like interested in that, and we're going to eventually do that.
Cool.
But,
all right, so Tom, how did you get started in all of this? I mean, you're pretty young for this kind of stuff. You're probably closer to my age.
Well, I'm 53 now.
Yeah. So.
But I've seen you for how many years? It's been 30 years plus.
Yeah, but as far as collecting this caliber of car, you're on the far young side of this, I would feel.
Well, I mean, I just have always been into it. Since I was 17, I bought my first Mopar, and I worked my way up. Like, I would buy a car, like I started with like 383 cars. Actually, in high school, my senior year, I had a Charger RT like that one on the end, 440 automatic. And then from that, I sold it, bought a Cuda race car. Nick Wilson used to be a mentor of mine from CompUflow. and we horse trade parts and cars back and forth. I got bit by the racing bug early on, kind of got me a little distracted, and then I got back into the muscle cars. I just would work my way up. I would start with a 383 car, sell it, get a 6-pack car, and I'd mess with 6-pack cars for the longest time. And then Hemi cars, you know, and then just working my way, and I've been fortunate, you know what I mean?
So where do you see all this stuff going as far as the hobby and the collector car? I mean, I don't see any slowdown as far as good cars go. That's my personal opinion.
That's the thing. I mean, the best cars, I think, you know, the rarest, most desirable cars will still be in demand. And I hope that's the way it'll always be. Hopefully these future generations will take care of them and respect them the way we always have. Well, except for when they were new and they were getting beaten the hell out of, right? So, but yeah, I mean, you know, when they put out movies with these cars in them still, I mean, it helps perpetuate that, I would think.
Absolutely, that and video games.
Yeah, video games and these kids, right. My kid, since he was a little kid, I mean, he was playing with Hot Wheels when he was 3-4 years old, and his mother said, "Hey, that's a nice Superbird you have there, Tommy." And he's like, "No, Mommy, that's a Daytona." And you can tell the difference between the two of them.
That's awesome. So what's next in your collection?
Well, I'm doing right now, a friend of mine and I are doing, primarily he's doing it now. His name's Aaron Kling, he's doing a restoration on a turquoise and white Charger RT. Turquoise, white interior, white top, white stripe. And it was from Florida. Actually, it's the one that we sent you in the Merry Christmas door cards on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that one should be, it's painted.
Pretty car, yeah.
Yeah, so that should be in the next year, it should be done.
So there's no real slowing down, it's just
I'm not
moving
doing any
forward.
more restos.
Right.
Like, you know, these cars are in the shape, I mean, you know, these guys that like everything perfect, that's not me. I like things to be driven, and I'll go out there, if he wants to drive it, he can drive it, or if he wants me to drive him, I'm going to beat the hell out of it. I don't care. That's what I do.
Right.
You know, because I love these cars. I didn't get into them for money. The money came maybe because of it, or, I mean, I've been working my butt off for years and own my own business.
Right.
But in the car business. So, I mean, I don't mind giving them a good flogging. So.
Right. Well, thanks for opening up your garage to us.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Thanks
everybody's
for
going to
coming.
love seeing this stuff, and it keeps it all alive and going forward. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you.
All right. It's always nice when someone comes by with a present.
Look,
We've got a bottle of wine here for this occasion, and it's dated what date?
1970.
1970. Been saving it for a while?
Just bought it, really.
But even more rare than the 70 wine is the hubcaps. These are actually the original hubcaps from the car?
Yes, sir. Took them off. Would be probably about August or September of 1970.
Have one of those, Tom.
And Krager's went on to them. And so they were 15 by 7 Kragers all the way around. And then after that, then I went to Keystones, and then I had 4-inch up front, and then the 7-inch Keystone in the back. But them were only on the car for like, I'm going to say less than 1,000 miles.
So how'd you end up keeping them?
I just figured that'd be neat to have, maybe put it on a wall. And as years go by, you don't realize, but you even have them until somebody says something. And I said, yeah, I got them, So I mentioned it to Tom, and I says, yeah, I got the original ones. And
I really appreciate you bringing those. I mean, they're going to go right on as soon as.
Yeah, it's awesome getting the right stuff for the car. I mean, it's
that
priceless.
came
Yeah,
on the car.
yeah, it's DNA.
You know,
Yeah,
it feels so much better on the car.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
these were in my garage, and I paint cars, okay? Now, I don't mean I paint cars like 1 or 2 or 5 or 10. I'm talking about I've painted probably over 1,000 cars in my garage, all overs, with another 1,000 just fenders, hoods, quarters. So they had to go in the plastic bag. So they were in the garage with the plastic bag. So when I took them out, I changed the bag because it was all overspray, put them in another bag, and I put them in my shed, and they were there for, I don't know, probably the last 35 years.
All right. Well, you guys going to do a toast?
Well, yeah, we got to get. So that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. For 50.
Well, it should be
3
good,
years?
right?
Should be
Fresh,
good.
they should know one thing at least, right?
Uh-huh.
To me, I can't tell the difference between this and something that was made in 2018. Tells you how good a wine.
You have to enjoy every sip of that.
Yeah, I'll never have something like this again, 1970.
All right, Tom, can we take this out for a ride and let him drive his car again?
Yeah, we've been waiting, how long?
50 plus years.
Let's go.
That's pretty special. Thanks.
All right, thanks,
I
guys.
appreciate you making it happen for him. I mean, it's special on both
I
sides.
appreciate
Yeah.
it. This is not the first time they've come down.
Yeah.
They've come down twice. Why don't you come on, get in here, would you?
Yeah. So what are your memories with this car?
None.
None?
Whatever he tells us, right?
He came by with it on a trailer.
Uh-huh.
That's the only time.
That's the
I've
only
seen it.
memories, huh? Mm-hmm. All right, well, it's going to feel good to get back in it, right?
Excellent. Look forward to it.
Straight back. Keep going. Keep going. All right, Al, how long has it been since you drove this thing?
Let's see, 1978. So,
Remember how to do it?
yeah.
It's like riding a bike, right? This has been Robert Wolf reporting from the road, and if you'd like to read more about this Hemi Cuda and more like it, make sure you have a subscription to the only Mopar magazine that matters, Mopar Collector's Guide. If you like this video, please smash the like button and go ahead and subscribe to Mopar TV before you leave, so you are alerted when the next Mopar TV video comes out. It's absolutely free.